He holds a master's degree in economics and a doctorate in philosophy. He works at the Graduate School of Human Sciences at Osaka University in Japan. His research interests encompass the economics of education and the analysis of public policies with regard to education sector in developing countries, particularly in the sub-Saharan African region. He has developed an expertise in statistical analysis and quantitative design using large data sets. Today, Dr. Sakaue reflects on the financing of ECCE systems. Please, Dr. Sakaue, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Honorable Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Katsuki from Osaka University, Japan. I just firstly say thank you so much for your to IECD Seychelles and also IB UNESCO for the giving me this opportunity, precious opportunity. Thank you very much. So today I will not spend much time on showing Japanese case. I'm standing here as an education economist. So my presentation, the title is Improving the Quality of Early Childhood Care and Education through Better Financing for Data, a comparative review. Okay, so there are 4 objectives of my presentation. So the first one is to understand why financing for data is important in improving quality of early childhood care and education. And also to summarize the key principles in establishing well-functioning financial framework with strong data collection mechanisms. And to introduce some successful country cases. And also, yes, lastly, as Dr. Hamilton mentioned, I summarize, I make a recommendation towards more and better financing for data collection and use in ECCE. So first, what I want to emphasize is spending on data collection and use is a strategic investment. So the government collects data and also utilizes data not only because it is a compliance requirement that is very important for accountability purpose, but also because there is a high return on investment in these efforts. So when we talk about investment, we think about costs, compared between costs and benefits. So what are the costs for data collection? So we need to hire like consultant, maybe like me, but like staff, pay staff salaries. And also there are costs for learning training session. And these days we have big data and maybe it becomes even a bit more expensive. But what are the benefits? The benefits are financial or other resource savings. It can be improved utilization of public funds. There can be improved quality of services. So actually usually it's very difficult to quantify these benefits. But there are some outstanding classic case. It's a classic one, but I think it's still relevant. So it happened in Uganda in 1996, quite a long time ago. And so the World Bank and the government of Uganda did very simple data collection. So they collected data on how much capitation grants, subsidies, each primary school actually receives from the government. And they did very simple analysis. They compared them with the budget allocations. And then they found that only 30% of the capitation grants actually reached the schools. And to make the long story short, they started to publish the monthly transfer of public funds in the main newspapers. And the benefit was a proportion of approved education funds, which actually reached the schools, was increased to 80%. So the cost the government spent for this project was 60,000 US dollars. And the benefits, they saved this amount of money, again this amount of money, US dollar 18.5 million. So the cost benefit ratio was 308. Maybe this is an extreme case, but I just want to remind you that some bottlenecks in the large national system may be easy to fix than we imagine. So building a well-designed system to identify them with a timely manner has a high value worth investing in. So I just want to reminding you, so first of all, there should be a data demand, and then data collection happened, and then data became available. And I want to stress this point also. Success of the system should be measured by how much data is utilized. Even though much data are collected, if data are not utilized, there's nothing. And when data utilized, improvement of quality of services happen. So, and then now I want to explain why more and better financing for data in ECCE. So what I want to first highlight is there is a low level of government spending on ECC subsector. But we see this kind of recent trend. In some countries, there has been an increasing government commitment on ECC subsector. Why it happened? Because there was a strong evidence which shows notably high rate of return on investing in ECCE programs have been produced by rigorous impact evaluations conducted in America and other European countries. So this is kind of same famous figure, and the more or less the education economists had reached an agreement that rate of return to investing in ECCE is much higher than investing in other subsectors like primary education, secondary education, and tertiary education. Actually, cost-benefit ratio is 2 to 8. So, but I want to emphasize this point. More efforts are also required to produce evidence to attract more funding as a subsector, especially in developing countries. We need the data to show the evidence. And also, another point I want to highlight is there are various actors from different sectors have numerous service delivery options in ECCE. So ECC subsector has a huge, great potential to find more cost-effective option by investing in collecting and also utilizing data. Okay. So, and I want to show you some the current status on the introduction of national system for data collection and use in ECC subsector. And there has been actually a notable effort have been made to produce internationally comparable ECC data under this current SDG 4 Education 2030 ELA, during ELA, yes. And the efforts to revise the UNICEF Early Childhood Development Index, and also OECD is conducting this study. But in parallel with these efforts, it is important to make efforts for increasing the number of countries with national system for collecting and also utilizing data. And sadly speaking, a few countries, including high-income countries, have national monitoring system for ECCE. So this is just a kind of quick review. I get it from the Sabel system approach for better education result, the World Bank's survey. And the key findings here is most of the country at least have a system. They are collecting, they have the administrative data on access. But very few countries has the data on their outcomes data. And very few countries, the fewer countries actually have data actually tracking the development outcomes of each child. Okay, so and then I want to talk about the trends in financing for data in ECC subsector. And I have to say, unfortunately, there are very little comprehensive data which show how much each government spends for collecting and also using the data. But we have some information on who finance for the data in ECCE. And OECD conducted online survey on monitoring and quality in early learning and development in 2013, targeting 24 OECD countries and also jurisdictions. And key findings show that funding of data collection system is almost exclusively relying on public. So, and of course, it is often sourced by different levels of government simultaneously. So it says like 9 countries are solely funded by central government. There are 4 countries funded by local government. 7 countries, mixture, central and also local governments are funding. As an exception, there are 3 countries, the private sectors are also involved in financing for data, but majorities are public funding. So from now, I'd like to kind of summarize the key principle we have to always consider when financing for data in ECCE. So the first thing is, the principle is adequacy. So how much should governments spend on their data collection and use? How much is adequate? And this is actually a very difficult question to answer. And there is actually a rule of thumb ratio. 1% of a program spending should be devoted to data. But what I want to stress here is there is no logical or empirical basis behind the benchmark. So it actually depends. And it can lead to under-budgeting for data collection and use. So don't be kind of too much legalistic. We have to we need adequate financing if we find that data collection is effective. And also, in the real world, there is a budget constraint, so we have to think about efficiency. So the first point I want to highlight is utilize existing survey and administrative data. So as I have shown you, almost all countries have already had data collection system. And there is always a potential to reduce duplication in the existing data collection system. And number 2, collect data through unified, integrated, and comprehensive system. This becomes important in this sector, subsector. So focus should be put on creating new coordination structure that will also save many costs. And build data collection into routine administrative tasks. But also, I want to add, it is important to keep in mind that we do need to conduct new data collection for collecting selective core information when necessary. And also, design data collection system with a long-term agenda. So, and it's worth considering how we can collect data within a national system, which enables us to access the long-term impact of ECCE. And is the data collection system for ECCE embedded in the system for the full education sector? That's also a question it's worth asking. And then apply ICT. So the theme of this conference is about big data, but applying ICT from economic perspective, it has a huge potential to dramatically cut costs, retaining or even improving quality. And what I want to, one more thing I want to add is sustainability. This is also important. And lack of sustainability is a general issue in financing ECCE, especially in developing countries when it is largely funded by the donors. So the important question to ask is, can your country's data collection system for ECCE survive a change in administration or in government minister top officers or in donor funding? So it is okay to be led by the political leadership or strong donor support in establishing a system, but the utilization of collected data should be institutionalized or mainstreamed for promoting the sustainability of the system. So from here, I just want to show some cases, and this is from Japan. And Japan, actually, my country, introduced a new policy called Comprehensive Support System for Children and Child Care, 子ども子育て支援新制度. And the two ministries and cabinet office involved in implementation. And cabinet office coordinated the national level and executes this CSSCC budget. And Japan used to have no holistic data collection system. Ministry of Education and Ministry of Health collected data separately, but under CSSCC, Cabinet Office established a completely new unified data collection system covering all types of ECCE facilities. They spent like $3 million for this. And one more thing, I want to introduce you the case of Chile, which is frequently cited as one of the best data collection and use in ECCE. And the policy's name is called CLESE, Contigo. It's and in Chile, 3 ministries, health, education, and social development involved in the implementation. And the Ministry of Social Development coordinated at the national level and executes the budget, including data collection and use. And there is an innovative data collection practice. They have this system, a biopsychological development support program, which tracks the individual development of children with an online system. So I think there are nuts and bolts for efficient data collection system we can learn from this country. So in ECCE subsector coordinating ministry focused on building an online platform. And all information is linked to the unique national identification number of the child, and the individual data can be linked with other government data sets. And it is designed to be used by all sectors, education, health, social services, among others. And Chile is actually known as a country which has an efficient system for data collection and use. So the government spends far less than 1% of their program budget for data, and relatively few number of evaluations, the expensive impact evaluation projects are conducted. So yes, following the suggestion from the organizer, I summarize, I'd like to present these 4 takeaway messages from financial perspectives. The one, ensure adequate financing to collect quality data through government funding. Number 2, increase financial efficiency by collecting data through the unified system. Of course, there's some exception. It depends on the context, but we have to think about the efficiency, promoting increasing efficiency. Number 3, promote financial sustainability by embedding the collection system in the ECCE service delivery mechanism. And lastly, this is directly related to the theme of this conference, but seek the possibility of utilizing ICT for increasing the cost effectiveness of data collection system in ECC. I believe there is a huge long-term benefits we can gain by applying ICT in data, building data collection system. Okay, I think that my time has come, so These are key references. Thank you very much for your kind attention.